talking to you, baby. I just get carried away. You blow my mind. I just get carried away. Talking to you, baby. I just get carried away. You blow my
Yes, come on, guys. Frattesi for his nonna. We actually did it, guys. They actually did it. I know it's just the first half. I know it's just the first leg, but you know, I was thinking 1-1. I was going to be happy with the 1-1, but no, these guys kept going right until the end. And one of the guys that we've been, you know, not been happy with his performances this year, but if you know, and if you don't know, he's been going through some stuff recently with his grandma. The last few months, she was ill, and recently she passed away. So I am so happy for Davide Frattesi, who took his top off, and you could tell how much this goal meant for him. I could tell, I felt it, you know, with someone. I've only got one grandma left, you know, all the other grandparents are gone, unfortunately. So I've got the one, and we're trying to hold on to her for as long as we can. So I get this feeling. I get maybe why he's not been at his best recently, and I'm so happy for him. And of course, I am so happy for us Interisti around the world. Come on, guys. I know we have been bitching and crying recently, especially after that Parma draw. But come on, a result like that, I don't want to see too much negativity in here. Yes, of course, we'll get into some, you know, analysis of the game and some players maybe that could have done better, some situations where we could have done better, Inzaghi and all that kind of stuff. But guys, we went to the Allianz Arena. Listen to me, guys. Listen to me. We went, no, this wasn't at home. This was away at the Allianz Arena. And I think I saw a stat that said Bayern are unbeaten there in like 22 games or something in Europe. So anyway, I can't remember exactly what the stat was, but it was a crazy stat. Bayern at home, whether it's Vincent Kompany or Thomas Tuchel managing them or Hansi Flick, doesn't matter. Bayern Munich, at any period of their time, they are a difficult team to play at their home, and we went there and we beat them. We beat them. Scoreline, maybe you could say, and in reflection, probably was quite a balanced game. A draw probably was the right result, but for once, we were the team that took the chances, and Bayern were the wasteful team. So it's nice to be the team on the other side of this kind of chance game, you know, where we're usually, especially in Serie A, we always seem to be the team that's creating loads, and then we just F up, and then the other team ends up punishing us. So it feels nice that the other team created more than us today. Let's be real. Harold Kane, the lights were a little bit too bright for Harold Kane, but not for our Capitano Lautaro Martinez. But anyway, guys, before we get into it all, there is 179 people in this live stream right now. So you guys do your bit. You do your Lautaro Martinez tonight. You do your Davide Frattesi tonight. You do your Jan Zoma, your Acerbi, your Bastoni, your Darmian, the whole team today, Benji Pavard. Everyone in their own way contributed to this victory. Not everyone was perfect. Some players better than others, but it's a team game, and definitely every single one of them contributed to that victory. So let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. Let me see who is in the house and start getting some of your comments in before we analyze everything. What a game, language. So yes, I'm just getting my and you know what? I was late, guys. So I went down to get water just before the stream. I was on time and everything. And then in the rush, though, I was like, trying to get water, and there was a plate on the side of my sink, and I dropped it and I broke the bloody plate. Which it depends which culture you're from. In some cultures, that's considered good luck, breaking a plate. So hopefully this is a lucky stream for me and you guys, and a fun one for you guys, an enjoyable one. But yeah, apologies for being late. And speaking of a lucky stream, we've got the first donation in already. So let me get this donation up straight away with Eduardito for Nonna Frattesi. Yes, shouts out, rest in peace to Nonna Frattesi, whatever her name was. Respect to her and to Frattesi family. But this one is for you, Nonna. This one is for you. And another donation here from Zeki as well. Thank you, Eduardo and Zeki, for the support on the channel. Zeki's at work, Australia time. So yeah, is it already morning for you guys? Augusto was amazing, did great for both goals as a Frattesi hater. Yes, Frattesi haters all around the world. You gotta apologize for this one. Yes, he's been stinky this year. And I'm not putting myself in that category. I'm not a Frattesi hater for sure. But look, even the Aslani haters coming out. There's always one agenda is going to win somehow. Whether it's the Frattesi agenda today winning, but somehow even the Aslani hater agenda is winning today. That's crazy. That's crazy. But let me go scroll back up. I want to reward all the people that came early as well. Mattia always here, of course, the legend that he is. Parma, of course, Parma, more legendary club, Parma, back in the day, that kit, the players that they've had over the years, it's a better team, man. It's a better team than Bayern. Room some coke, Forza Inter per sempre. And yeah, we know they play so differently, right, guys? We've been talking about it all season. It's clear. It's clear. It's right in front of our eyes. These guys, they won the Champions League more than Serie A. I still believe that we're going to win Serie A. That's my belief. Maybe, I don't know if I'm going to be right or not, because our schedule is looking a little bit more difficult than Napoli. And you can clearly see now, it's not Inzaghi. It's not, I wouldn't even say it's the ownership. It's the players themselves. I've heard from, people say, sources within the club are saying the players, when they get together, these guys, when they're talking to each other, when they're going for dinners, they're all talking about adding, on top of my head here, they want to add another star. They want revenge for that Champions League final. And it's clear with the way they play in the Champions League. Again, today, only one goal conceded. What's that? 3 goals in the whole of the Champions League until now we conceded. And against Parma, we conceded 2. Like, it just shows you. I mean, of course, there was a bit of luck, unluckiness in those Parma goals. Like, if you think about it, guys, today, Parma, some of the saves that Zoma made, of course, in that Parma game, but some of the chances Bayern created today, they created a lot more than Parma did. But whether you can call it luck, and of course, they messing it up and fluffing their lines, it's a different ball game in the Champions League, a different ball game. Yes, Barella, he was definitely one of the best players on the pitch today. He showed levels to Goretzka, to Kimmich, all those Bayern players. Of course, Bayern were missing a lot of players. Let's be, honest about that. And I think they did miss some of their big players like Musiala, for sure they missed today. Alfonso Davis, they missed for sure. Big miss on the left-hand side. Stanisic was almost a known factor. But it doesn't matter. They still had big players that had a very good team out there, and we played better. Some of our players definitely played better than their players. Let's be honest. I think Bayern fans will be honest about that too. But Inter Nixnock says, literally all I can say, I was crapping on the team for conceding late for Daisy and Reggie. But that you see the guys now, like that conceding late. Also, you can see, like, if Inzaghi had to make the substitution, because in Serie A we complain, but Inzaghi and the coaching staff and the fitness staff know this team can't cope with 80, they can't keep going after 60, 65th, 70th minute. You can see they don't have the legs, the energy to cope with this. So that's why, we see Inzaghi make those substitutions, and then in the end, we blame the substitutions for what happens. But you saw, without the substitutions, we were suffering. Somehow they didn't score. Substitutions come on, we keep suffering, then they score. he's gonna lose either way, Inzaghi. Like I've realized now, like even today, you can just see. Today, actually, I thought he should have took Lautaro off sooner because he was clearly so tired, Lautaro. But it's just how the penny drops, isn't it? Like we could have conceded a lot earlier, even when we had the full starting 11, but we didn't. But we just kept suffering and suffering, and then in the end, we got a little bit of burst of energy from Carlos Augusto, from Barella, and Frattesi, and we got the job done. We got the Germans in the house as well. Had 8 takes. Lucas says a UCL quarterfinal as you want it. It was obvious that it would get close and we would need to fight. Yeah, you could see from the way that it went. I mean, let's talk about on the other side as well. Like what can happen. If you don't stay concentrated. I mean, look at what happened on the other side. Arsenal beat Real Madrid 3-0. Real Madrid, who own this competition. Oh, they've even got a red card. Who got a red card for them? Declan Rice, I saw he scored 2 amazing free kicks. Camavinga got sent off in the 9th. Look at that. This is the margin of these big games. Like and what could realistically Real Madrid do if Declan Rice decides to score 2 free kicks? I mean, people barely score direct free kicks these days, and this guy scored 2 free kicks, and I can't even call him Basmati Rice anymore when he's scoring 2 free kicks on Real Madrid's head top and the Champions League quarterfinal. This is the level. Some of these players that you play against, you can play whatever perfect game that you want. Sometimes some players would just dunk on you, which is what Lautaro Martinez decided to do in the first half. Today, that was one of the best performances for sure for Lautaro Martinez. Just that first half was amazing. I mean, Frattesi redemption. I mean, like, come on, guys. Like, we can't say one goal is going to be the Frattesi redemption. But hopefully, this kind of helps him maybe get over the private, issues. Of course, emotionally, maybe this helps him just get something off his chest, off his back. His death of his grandma. There could be something big. But it doesn't change anything in terms of is this going to help Frattesi become better on the ball and become more suited to Inzaghi ball? No, not really. But we were saying on this channel, right? Like this guy in the and I mean it was mainly coming from his agent in January. Like, just stay, bro. Like you can fight for. I know you want to play more, you want to start more, but just calma, bro. You can stay. You're gonna get your time. You're gonna get your minutes. Where else are you gonna go play Champions League? Where else are you gonna go play? Well, no other Italian team is gonna give you Champions League football, right? After January, you can still contribute to a Scudetto. You can still contribute to a Coppa Italia, even though you had to stank the pitch up against Milan in the first leg. And now you can have a big, you can have big Champions League night still. Yes, you might not be a starter, but bro, just bide your time, wait till the end of the season. In the end, I'm glad that, as I always said, I know he doesn't fit Inzaghi's style of play, and I know he was too expensive. I said that from the beginning. I wasn't a fan of the amount we paid Sassuolo for Frattesi, but every day of the week, anytime I build a team, I want a midfielder with Frattesi's characteristics, because no one else can do what he does in this team. And in modern football, actually, there's not many players and not many midfielders I can point to and say, this guy's guaranteed goals from midfield. Frattesi is that, and I'll take that every day of the week. It's just, of course, it would be nice if he also provided other things to his game as well. Let me get back to your comments. Let me see what you guys are saying as well. Park the bus at home. No, Tariq. We should have learned from the previous mistakes. We can't. And you saw today, parking the bus, inviting them on. Eventually, something's gonna happen. You can't do that. You have to play the same way you play today. Some moments sit back. Some moments take control. Try to create. And then, second half, actually, when we sat too much far back, we lost all our energy. That's when we got punished. Last time I had such emotions was a 3-3 versus Barca. That was an absolutely crazy game, up and down. Less control. Today was actually, I actually kind of enjoyed some moments of control. But I know what you mean. There was such a up and down of emotions. But that Barca one was crazy because that was like a FIFA game. It was just like crazy chances, both sides. Boom, 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 boom. It was a crazy, crazy game. Stanislav, Aide. And yes, Mattia, thank you for always reminding us and the people to hit that like button. Augusto truly underrated. Yes, I was criticizing him, or I made like a in jest. I made a tweet in the first half. I was like, watching Darmian and Augusto trying to attack was my tweet. But actually, Augusto was pretty. Darmian did basically nothing going forward, so it fit Darmian perfectly. But Augusto, in the first half, he probably could have scored or assisted in the first half, but he was trying. Yes, he's not DiMarco. Yes, his left foot is nowhere near as good. Yes, he's not as comfortable in those positions when he's in the attacking third, but he runs his heart out. He tries his best. He tries hard. He runs hard. Puts his heart into it. He's basically like Frattesi at wing back, Carlos Augusto. He's always going to try his best, and you can never criticize that. Yeah, he defines the word reliable. I disagree, Gabri. As I said, I think Lautaro was clearly huffing and puffing for for most of the second half, and I think he could have been subbed off much earlier. Yeah, we'll see. Zalewski, again, interesting cameo apart from the silly yellow card he got at the end, but we'll see. He's very unpolished at the moment. Yes, he always tries to take on his players, but that's just we're just dying for someone to do that. But that's not necessarily a good thing that he just tries. He needs to polish up his game a little bit more and start becoming more reliable, so Inzaghi can actually trust him from the start of games. And yeah, I mean, I think Bayern fans do know that, over the years, we have been a bogey team for Bayern. Of course, as I said, last time round when we faced them, when we weren't so good with this kit, actually, that Inzaghi season where we lost 12 in the league, but we got to the Champions League final. They kicked our ass, but we weren't very good in that moment. If they played us a few months later, things might have been different already in that season. But aside from that, yeah, we have been a bogey team for Bayern over the years, for sure. I mean, that Champions League final, that Champions League knockout stage in 2011, straight after the year after. FC Bayern, we are your bogey team. We hope this win gives the team very much confidence they need for the final stretch of the season. Yeah, but again, Stanislav, I don't know if this will. I think it's separate. You see that it doesn't really translate. If anything, this Champions League win again might give these guys a bit of overconfidence and a bit of arrogance going into Serie A. Like we've seen it, we know these guys. It's kind of they're quite predictable now. This win is going to give them more confidence for the Champions League, maybe some overconfidence for Serie A, to be honest. But again, yeah. So Champions League, I'm getting more and more hope and faith that we can go further and do good against other teams, even if we get Barcelona next up. Marcus, crazy. What a game. 100%, brother. I agree. Ian Kerr Mafia in the house. Part 1 done. Yes, now we got to focus and concentrate on part 2. But before that, actually, let's focus and concentrate on part 1 and enjoy this part 1. And there it is. Yeah, I was right. 22 games unbeaten home run in the UCL. Thank you, Meji, for confirming that. That is massive. That is massive. Do not underestimate what Inter have done tonight away at the Allianz, similar to what we did away at Anfield a few years back. This club will make us die young, and that's why we love it, Noor. That's why we love it. But yeah, job's not done, Valmo. 100% job's not done. Fraternity season 2, maybe we need to make a comeback, Basisa. And then in there, Azzurri, what's up, brother? My heart rate is all over the place. Yes, Eduardo, I already seen that one. We need to stop buying. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in the preview, right, Sharif? It's one of our weaknesses. It's one of our weaknesses. We do let a lot of crosses in. And it's not easy when they create a lot of overloads on the wing, so it's not easy to block those shots, those crosses. But in the second leg, I hope we can do a better job of that, because that's where they created a lot of their chances today. I already saw this one. Thank you again for the donation. I'm happy when Frattesi plays well, just means more money in our pockets when we sell in the summer. Yes, that is true. That is true. That maintains or even improves his value for when we do sell him in the summer. And again, I think Frattesi has been a flop signing. Like people, I tweeted the other day about, you know, I found a tweet of mine from last year where Frattesi says he knows where he needs to improve. He needs to improve on the ball and all this kind of stuff. And he needs to, you know, he knows that Mkhitaryan and Barella and Hakan are the starters and he's the guys challenging them, but he can do that. And then I tweeted, you know, saying none of that has happened. You haven't improved, even though you have mentality and, you know, hard work rate and all that. And then people in the comments are all saying, like, you know, alluding that he's a flop, that Inter shouldn't have signed him, that the management made a mistake by identifying him. I disagree. I think Frattesi, again, the money we paid for him was too much, but I think by the sounds of it, we're going to be able to get most of it back, if not all of it back. So I don't think Frattesi has been a flop signing. He contributes. You could even say Frattesi, without Frattesi, do Inter win the Scudetto as easily as we did last year, because Frattesi last year, some of his goals, last-minute winners, goal-winning games, the game-winning goals that he scored, 3-point deciding goals that he provided, you could make the argument that Inter would have won that Scudetto a few game days later if it wasn't for Frattesi. He contributed heavily off the bench last year. So, yeah, balance. Yeah, but that's the thing. You can never count Madrid out, right? Even though it's 3-0, they got a red card, and it looks, you know, any other club it would be over. But that Madrid voodoo in the Champions League, that black magic, and also, you know, Florentino Perez throwing some coins in some pockets, in some specific pockets. You can never count Real Madrid out. You can never count Real Madrid out. Arsenal and Inter really did the job tonight. Lauti scored outside the boot. Yeah, we need to get into that. I just want to get through some of your comments and I'll start pulling up the screenshots that I took from today's game. And of course, going through the stats and player ratings and all that. Tommy, this guy is the biggest believer in the treble or the quadruple this year. And of course, that smirk that he's got right there, that big smirk, is going to be a very snub one. Very like, I told you so, didn't I, Sharma? I told you so that we could go for the treble. That's the kind of very snobby smile he's going to have today. Oh yeah, I saw is Lautaro. I forgot. Someone remind me. Did I say Lautaro was one of the ones that was potentially suspended? Actually, let me find it. I have it here. No. So Lautaro on a yellow means that he's not suspended for the next one. No. So that's good. Blaze 4K, as usual. Whenever I see Blaze 4K's name, the only thing that comes to mind is, brother, Blaze one up, brother. And thank you very much for the support and the donation, man. I really appreciate you. Yeah, we couldn't in the second half. We started off, so game started off well, first half, maybe like first 5-10 minutes, but then Bayern started creating. Then we had some moments of taking control, not creating too much, but just kind of holding on to the ball. Then Bayern started creating a lot. Harry Kane hit the post. Olise tried to curl a few in. Zoma was there. Defense was there. Then again, we started creating some stuff, and then Lauti, boom, amazing goal. And then second half, we start again quite well, but then we just ran out of energy, couldn't string two passes together, as Joseph says. And then they score, we get punished. It was expected, but then Frattesi comes up trump. That's kind of how the game went, but we'll discuss now in a bit more detail. Just let me get through some of your comments, and of course, as usual, I try to prioritize. I'm sorry, guys, when there's so many of you guys in the chat, it's very hard to get through all the comments. But I have to prioritize the people that support the channel members. So appreciate you guys coming through. But that's that's the best I can do on this day. Confidence isn't our problem in the league, it's our urgency. We may be too confident. Yeah, exactly. It's the overconfidence in the league that's the issue, and the concentration. You see how we concentrated today. We were very, every little thing, we were on it. Mans were yelling when that Frattesi goal in. Yeah, of course. I was in my room just going crazy. Almost forgot 10 wins away from a treble. There it is. Barella had his game of the season. Probably, to be honest. Probably. He showed levels today. Best striker in the world is what Cherby wait for breakfast. Yeah, we'll go with that narrative, Masia. We'll go with that narrative. But Harry Kane really truly should have scored. He should have punished us today. But yeah, apart from that, we can say he was mostly pocketed from Acerbi or the defense. But yeah, let's run with that narrative for our Francesco Acerbi. I'm gonna tackle Mattia's part tonight. Make sure to leave it. There we go. We got another guy tackling the likes part as well. Thank you, Room Temp Coke. Appreciate you, brother. But let's get into it, guys. Screenshots from the game. It was a fun game. If you were a neutral, I think this was a fun game. Not so much for us, but in the end it was. But it was an up and down one. It was exhausting, as Kirby says. And thank you, Kirby, as always, for your streaming in the Discord chat, in the Discord channel. Appreciate you, brother. So game started off, as I said, it didn't start off too bad. We kept the ball quite well. Bayern tried to press high as we expected. There was a surprise inclusion for Bayern in Rafa Guerreiro, the Portuguese. I don't know what he is. He's a left back, right back, centre mid, and today he was playing CAM. It was supposed to be Muller, who obviously came on and scored in the second half, but it ended up being Rafa Guerreiro as a CAM, and they pressed us high. But it wasn't actually too much of a it didn't bother us too much. We played past the press quite well most of the time. A couple of times we got caught, but most of the time I would say we played very well. Through the press, we did, Zoma on the ball is just so calm. And even though they pressed high, they actually let Zoma have the ball. They didn't really press Zoma too much. There was a few times when Zoma was just keeping, put the studs on the ball, and he was just waiting for Kane or Zane to press him, but it didn't really come. So sometimes we had to go long. That's when we kind of struggled at the beginning, especially Thuram was losing his battles to Eric Dyer, which was annoying. Eric Dyer in big 2025 kind of dominating Thuram physically was quite frustrating to see. And Kim Min-jae in between. But Lautaro definitely had a better game than Thuram in that first half. Lautaro was the one winning his duels, mainly against Kim Min-jae. And I think he was doing very, very well. And then, as I said, the earlier chances were mainly coming from Bayern, really. Harry Kane, again, as I said, we'll go with the narrative that he was pocketed, but he probably could have done a little bit better a few times. This one here, decent chance for him in front of goal, but he was falling backwards, heads it straight to Zoma, who was there. Oh, look who's back. This guy, Ben Veto, man. Bro, reply to your messages on Twitter. I've been messaging you for like a whole month. This guy has gone missing. My brother, as always, comes through with the big donations for the channel. Really, really appreciate you, my guy. Where have you been, by the way? Where have you been? What a wonderful match. Hats up to Inzaghi. We needed this win. 100%. We needed this win. Especially after that Parma game. We were feeling a little bit low. But now we are feeling real, real good. So speaking on Guerrero, he at the beginning he didn't really. I don't think it really paid off his the decision to start and really paid off. I think at the beginning or for the game, but then there was this moment where he kind of made this run through. I think it was Olise. Olise definitely ended up being that danger man like I expected him to be. But again, Zoma was there. I don't think there was any like amazing save Zoma had to make today, but every time he was called into action, he was there. He spilled the ball a couple of times, Zoma. So I'm nitpicking here, but regardless, he was solid today, and he kept us in the game whenever Bayern created anything. Olise had a couple of similar goals here. First, he tried to curl one from, I think it was just outside the box, where it went past the post. It was a scary one. That was a one that I was like, whew. And then this one here again, Zoma reactive. This one was a very good save, because this one you see so many times, sneaks into the far post. The player just curls it in. The keeper always tries to cover his near post, and if it goes in that far corner, you can't really blame the keeper too much. But actually, you can see Zoma at full stretch, predicted where Olise would go. That's actually a very, very good and underrated save, because a lot of keepers, as I said, they try to cover the near post, and then if it goes, quite angled in the far post, you just, they're like, yeah, there's not much I could have done about that. Whereas Zoma was like, nah, not today, brother. Not today. Not under my watch. Joseph says, hopefully this is a heads up. We can't try to bunker. Yeah, 100%. But again, Joseph, it's difficult. It's easy to say for us, like, don't sit back. Don't give them control of the ball. But, this is Bayern Munich. This was at the Allianz Arena. And this was, as we know, this Inter team is tired. These guys don't have the juice in the legs to do this every 3 days. We saw that against even Udinese, against a much inferior team. We had an amazing 60, 70 minutes where we completely dominated Udinese just a couple weeks back. And as soon as we drop back a little bit, have a drop off in energy, which is very natural. It's how we manage that moment. It seems like as soon as we have that drop off in energy, we don't seem to have like an in-between point. It's either, we can control the game, we can manage the situation, or it's just completely we fall off, and our performance really suffers. So what we hopefully can try to find is some way to mitigate that moment where we hit the 50th, 60th minute, and yes, we're going to get tired, we're going to have some drain of energy. I guess that's where the substitutions come in, and where the Aslani and Frattesi should try to help more, and the B-Sex, and they haven't recently. But structurally, maybe there's some ways that hopefully Inzaghi and the coaching staff can try to find a way of managing this situation a little bit better. But yeah, thankfully today, our boys, unlike Parma, especially Lautaro, was on it. Not Thuram, not so much. But then, yeah, we actually took our chances that they didn't. That's the difference really today. Yeah, we don't have the quality and the physicality, and even the physicality. Even you saw like other teams that are playing in multiple competitions. Other teams are dropping points too. Real Madrid dropped points in the league in their last game. Arsenal dropped games. Like it's difficult. Even it's not even just because this Inter team is old and it needs refreshing, which is true. Even other teams that are young and fresh, it's just very difficult in modern football with so many games to play. Modern football is so much more intense and more running. There's so much more running involved than football in the past. It's very difficult for these teams to keep going on all fronts. That's why when you do a treble, it's so historic. That's why it is such a unique thing to do. And then here it is. I think this is really where we can say the tie swings at the moment. This first leg of this tie is Harold Kane. The lights are too bright once again for Harry Kane, the guy who might finally, it looks like he's going to get his first major trophy. Finally, he looks like he's going to win the Bundesliga. So he's going to finally get over that hurdle. But again, big game Harry Kane. The question marks remain, because that is a big chance for Bayern here. I think this comes actually from a Pavard mistake. I think he playing out from the back or just kind of making a little bit of a mistake. And then once again, Olise is the one who creates this. Harry Kane hits it first time, tries to curl it far post, hits the post. Luckily, And yeah, I think that's the moment where you can see Bayern are creating more than Inter, but not taking advantage of it. And this is, we've seen how many times has this happened to us where we know it. Like if Thuram does that or Lautaro does that, we know that the other team now is going to go and score against us, right? Lautaro hits the post or misses a massive chance, and we're just like, oh, we've created 3 or 4 chances now. Now we're going to run out a little bit of juice. The other team's going to take control for a few minutes, and then they're going to score. And actually, that's what happened for us this time round. And then, yeah, as I said, we started creating after that. 30 minutes in is our first big chance. Carlos Augusto should have done better, in my opinion, here. He could have either crossed it into the middle because he had Thuram in the middle waiting, or he could have at least tried to hit it across, try to do one of those cross come shots type of attempts that is kind of halfway, and then the striker can try to slide in at the far post, or at least try to hit it across, but he tried to go near post and hits the side netting. But yeah, that was the first big chance that we created at the 30th minute. Before that, we had like Hakan, some shots from like just the edge of the box that both got blocked. One of them looked quite dangerous. The first one Hakan hit. The second one looks like it was going really wide. But apart from that, we really didn't create much. And then here it is, the beautiful, beautiful goal that we scored to go 1-0 up. This starts, guys, it actually starts from a Zoma long ball into Lautaro, as I was saying. His duel winning today, he was great in the first half. Probably in the Champions League knockout stage for sure, or Champions League in general, this might be my favorite Lautaro performance, or his best performance, just in terms of that first 45 minutes. He was on it. His touch, his hold-up play, his link-up play, and of course his finishing, stepping up when we needed him to, and we wanted him to. So yeah, Lautaro like drops into the middle to pick up he wins a header, and then it goes wide to Carlos Augusto, who hits it really well into Thuram, and Thuram didn't have a great game, to be honest, Thuram, but this moment he did a back heel into Lautaro. And look at the technique that Lautaro scores with, guys. Like, it's almost like, on FIFA, when you play, FC 25, I guess you call it now, but I usually call that, when FIFA players do that in the game, I call it unrealistic, because you wouldn't try to, when you hit a trivela, you hit it like you would do it to the left side, to where Lautaro would shoot to that post. You wouldn't use your outside of the boot to shoot that way. So very, very rarely seen that. It was a nasty, nasty trivela goal that I haven't seen in a long time. And what a beautiful goal it was as well. Very unorthodox, but very beautiful. Unorthodox, but in a very beautiful way, and very effective, of course. Keeper probably wasn't expecting it. No one, I don't think, was expecting it. And it goes just underneath the crossbar as well. Beautiful. One of my favorite Lautaro goals for sure. The build-up play, the Thuram back heel pass, and the finish. And then the cold celebration. And him reaching the record of Samuel Eto'o. He's the first Inter player to hit 7 Champions League goals since Samuel Eto'o in 2010-11. And it's funny, his best Champions League season is coming when he's having probably his worst Serie A season. It's funny. It seems like we can't have both for Lautaro. He either has to ball out in the Serie A or Champions League. This year, finally, he's chosen the Champions League to ball out in. Lautaro goes great. Bastoni got man of the match. Okay. Matthias says, Carlos. I was feeling Barella, to be honest. I was feeling Barella as man of the match. But we'll get into it. I'll ask you guys when we're finishing up who the man of the match was. And yeah, of course, they missed Alphonso Davies. They missed Musiala. We missed Denzel for sure. Matty Dams, as always, as much as we love him and trust him and respect him, he was similar to how Stanisic was a non-factor on the left. Yeah, both of those guys, the non-factors were on that side. Left back for them and the right wing back for us. But at least I guess you could say he was solid defensively. Lautaro has shown us that finish before at the end of last season, and he showed that he did that against Milan as well. Remember in the Super Cup, but actually in that one he actually did the trivela as you'd expect it to that side, with the outside curling it, whereas this time I don't even know how you would do that. Like my ankle wouldn't even have the flexibility to do what he did. That's crazy. Oh my goodness, I don't even want to imagine an Arsenal Inter final. That just Elon Musk would have to like reset his servers because Twitter X would just literally melt. It would melt from the amount of interaction between Inter fans and Arsenal, and it would just explode. And yeah, Tommy continues his propaganda for 10 away from a treble. That was half time. Lautaro taking us through. As you can see, Bayern in terms of XG had almost double than us, more shots, more on target, 2 big chances according to FOTMob. But we went into halftime 1-0 up and very, very happy chappies. Second half starts, and again, as I said, we started off kind of good. We did create a good chance here, and here Lautaro, unfortunately, his touch just kind of takes him too far wide, and he tries to go near post. But I think if his first touch was better here, you can see he's really stretching to get to that ball. If his first touch was a little bit better here, he could have probably tried to hit it far post, across the goalkeeper, as you would as a striker. But you could see this is already in the second half. You could see Lautaro he exerted so much energy in the first half. He worked so hard. He was running around, slide tackling everywhere. I mean, let's have a look at his stats. Lautaro, he was an absolute monster on and off the ball. This reminded me of the Lautaro from like the Antonio Conte days, when he would be like just a nuisance for the other team off the ball as well, but then on the ball he was top. FOTMob is giving him man of the match. Look at that, only 1 misplaced pass. This is what I mean. His hold-up play, his link-up play today was just world-class. 3 out of 3 shots on target. 2 out of 2 dribbles as well. 2 out of 2 long balls. 1 out of 1 tackles. Look at that. 8 defensive action, 3 recoveries, 7 duels won, 7 lost. He was a monster. He was an absolute monster today. 3 times he was fouled as well. Absolute monster. Absolute monster performance from Lautaro today. Proper captain performance, leading from the front, leading by example. Thuram, not so much. Was the most foul player. Look at that. But he had the least touches of any outfield player, and he lost the most duels. The stats perfectly match the eye test, because today Marcus Thuram lost way too many duels, especially to Eric Dyer. That was a little bit embarrassing. Look at that, 0 out of 4 aerial duels. Not even half of his ground duels won. Nowhere near as much contribution defensively as Lautaro, but got a crucial assist. And he improved a little bit in the second half. But very marginally. Going back to the screenshots. So then we started dropping off. Energy levels started to drop off. We started seeing deeper and deeper, and then started to create chances. Stanisic, this was probably his only real moment of note in the whole game. Had a good chance from this header from a Lima cross. Lima actually gave us a lot of trouble. I was quite surprised. He had this very weird role. So even though he was, playing as a right back, he was coming infield a lot. And I think Augusto and Mkhitaryan didn't really know how to pick him up, whether it was going to be Augusto coming in him with him or Mkhitaryan. He gave us a lot of trouble. He kept drifting into this area for us, inverting. He was giving us a lot of trouble. And in the end, actually, he ended up getting the assist from the other side. He went over to the left-hand side at the end of the second half. He gave us a lot of trouble. But again, Bayern not taking advantage of the chance there. Thomas Muller comes on for Rafa Guerreiro. obviously is Ramdoita ways finding space, but Bastoni was there. Great block from Bastoni here. Looks like probably Zoma might have had it covered. Who knows? Could always, you can always see these also get deflected. Bit of luck for the other team, but it didn't happen this time round. And here it is, the goal that we concede. Could Bisek be quicker and getting out to Lima here? That's my question. Bisek again. I don't want to say if he had a bad substitute appearance, but he definitely was he didn't look very convincing when he came on, Bisek. Yeah, I think here he could have maybe sprinted out a little bit quicker to try to block the cross from Lima. And then yeah, someone obviously not sure who is that Bastoni or Cherby or someone, yeah, has kind of fallen asleep a little bit and left Muller at the far post unmarked. But yeah, it was coming. Bayern deserved the goal. It is what it is. We're not going to lose sleep over that. Odlo! Forza Inter, brother. Forza Inter. Hope you're enjoying this win. Enjoy this win, guys. Make sure you enjoy this win. But it doesn't matter. We end up getting it back. We end up getting our lead back thanks to, again, Carlos Augusto and Davide Frattesi, who actually are very good friends on and off the pitch. It's like it's Augusto, Frattesi, Aslani have this little trio. I've also seen them. They went on like holidays together. But yeah, Augusto even late on makes that sprint. This move all starts from Barella. Barella's energy still going at this late moment of the game. Augusto's energy still going in this moment of the game. And Frattesi, of course, fresh off the bench, doing what he does best, being that auxiliary striker, being that striker that maybe we all say that he should just, convert to a striker really full time. Gets us the goal, gets us the win, gets us the 3-point. Gaza, Frattesi, Gaza, sempre con la sua esultanza. There's something about his goals, Frattesi, in his celebrations. It hits extra good. It hits extra good. I love it. I love those Frattesi, especially those last-minute Frattesi winners. They hit so sweet. Let me get back to some individual performances. Yeah, as I said, Darmian did barely anything. Look at that. Not really completing much passes. We really miss Denzel. We really miss Denzel. Yeah, and speaking of that, if you saw Di Marzio's comment pre-match, he's saying that Inter have pretty much bloccato, which is not a word we like Interisti because we've been burnt by that many times in many transfer windows. But he's saying that we've blocked Luis Enrique from Marseille already, pretty much. He's saying that we almost have a deal in agreement. Whether he's talking, I didn't see whether he's talking about with Marseille or just with the player. But yeah, it looks like the right wing back to challenge Denzel is coming already. The management is already addressing that. And we've been wanting that, especially me. You guys know, I don't think Darmian should have been a right wing back for the last 2 years. Benji Pavard was decent. He was feeling himself at some moments. There was, again, that one mistake that he did. And then, he tried a back heel at one point. And then at one point, he did outside of the foot pass as well in the box. He was feeling himself, of course, as an ex-Bayern player. No Benji Pavard goal. I was hoping for the Benji Pavard goal of the ex, but it was not to be. Acerbi, of course. Nothing needs to be said. A big game against a big striker. We know Acerbi is going to come through. Didn't put a foot wrong all game. Fantastic performance. Bastoni was really good as well. Look at that one, the most duels. Obviously struggled. I don't know if he deserved man of the match, to be honest, because he did struggle with Olise on that side. I mean, he's not an easy customer to deal with. But he was very good. Look at that. 8 out of 9 ground duels, 1 out of 2 aerial duels, 11 defensive actions, 2 out of 5 tackles. 2 out of 2 dribbles, 86% pass accuracy. He was solid. Zomer as well, of course, as I said. Maybe not anything crazy save apart from that one on Olise, but every single one, he was reactive, he was there. On the ball, he was really good as well today, as usual, spreading the ball, very calm on the ball, short pass game on point, long pass game mostly on point, was good in the air as well, 2 high claims, 3 punches, 1 time acted as a sweeper, 4 diving saves. Yeah, very, very happy with Zomer's performance. And yeah, Augusto, sometime maybe good, sometime maybe shit. Passing not very good. At one point, he tried to make a pass with his right foot in the first half, fell over, and it went out for a throw in. And as I said, maybe should have done better in one of the early opportunities. This one here. But aside of that, he created the first goal with his cross, and he got the assist for the second one. So yeah, he's definitely a big, big shout for man of the match. He won most of his duels as usual as well. He's a monster in terms of that. Mickey was very good. His usual engine. Look at that, 50 out of 55 passes completed, 2 out of 2 dribbles, 3 out of 3 tackles. Our midfield showed those levels. Like today's midfield, the 3 midfielders reminded me of how we played last year. All 3 of them were on point today. Hakan was back on point today after his Mezzala appearance last week or the other day. He was back controlling the game, dictating the tempo when we had the ball anyway. And he was good off the ball as well. 7 defensive action, 4 interceptions. Tried to have his shots as well. Unfortunately, they were blocked or off target, but I enjoyed Hakan's performance today, full 90 minutes. And then substitute-wise, yeah, not too much to speak of because, yeah, as we said, Bisek not that great. Zalewski, okay-ish. Frattesi was the only one that had, a good substantial amount of time. Only completed his 2 passes today, but we don't care. Today, we don't care about Frattesi's involvement, whether he would have completed 0 or 1 pass today out of, 1 out of 10. I don't care. He got the winning goal, and that is a Frattesi performance. That's unfortunately because of his characteristics. That's what his game hinges on, whether he scores or he's a threat into the box. And he provided us with the winning goal. And overall, the stats, I think the XG seems a little bit over the top here. It's not always super reliable. There's some chances that obviously it doesn't take into account. Like if you remember, Lautaro slipped over at one point in the first half. He was potentially 1v1 on goal. He got the better of Kim Min-jae and then he slipped. So he couldn't get his shot off, and then Kim Min-jae recovered. But that was, potentially a big opportunity that doesn't show on the XG map. But I think, yeah, some of those big chances in the first and second half definitely fell Bayern's way. If I am super objective and, take my Inter hat off, maybe you could say definitely maybe Bayern slightly deserved the win when it comes to the chances created and the XG. But, we know football, it's not about how much you create and how much XG you create. As Inter fans, we know that if that was the case, then we would win, everything every season. It's about what you can capitalize from what you create and what you can minimize for the other team as well. And we managed to mostly minimize Bayern, mostly. And we actually took chances that we created for once. So, yeah. No. They're allowed to do 5, but, the thing is, Alex, both teams, if you watch my preview, you see both teams are so injury hit. Bayern, that's one thing. We have got a little bit lucky in terms of the timing of when we play Bayern. Look at that. Their bench, that's it. João Palhinha is the only other guy that's a first-team player. All these other guys are youth team players. And, of course, the 3 guys that they brought on. Both teams are very, very short at the moment in terms of their squads. For us, look at that. Di Marco couldn't start the game, but his luckily his substitute came through for us. But apart from that, you know, there's not much there. We're really missing Denzel and Zielinski. So, and of course, not even the guys on the bench, are they fully fit? We know that Dimarco's not fully fit. Arnautovic is not fully fit. Correa's not part of the squad for the Champions League. So, yeah, in some ways, it's we kind of the good timing to play Bayern, and it still shows, guys, like this Bayern team. This is not the best Bayern team, and it's still were able to dominate us for big chunks of the game and create more than us. And this is not the best Bayern team. So it shows you the strength of Bayern, that they had 5-6 major injuries and they're still able to put a team out like that. Imagine us with 5-6 major injuries, will look completely different. Muller to free, he looks finished, bro. He looks really finished, Muller, unfortunately. I know he got the goal today, but he barely plays for Bayern because its time has finally caught up to him. Football is about putting the ball in the net, 100%, Valmo, 100%. And yes, welcome to the channel membership, Abdi Razak. Really appreciate you, my guy. Really appreciate you for the support on the channel. So glad completely didn't use Palinha. That guy can stop Alcantara quite easily. Yeah, but I mean, we didn't really. The thing is, yeah, I was surprised. I mean, not too surprised actually, because we didn't have Denzel. But we didn't really transition much today. I was surprised. There was really not too much counter and transitioning we tried to do today. Even when we had opportunities, we tried to really be very methodical and play out from the back, or start from the back again, even if we were like near their box. We were very try to slow the tempo down today compared to other times. No, you guys, because as I said, because Bayern are kind of like my German team, and I do tune in to Bayern games here and there. He's really not, his Muller's game is all about his energy, his running, finding space, and being explosive, not in terms of pure athleticism, but just being very reactive and quick, just off the mark and getting to things before the players. And his mind works just as quick as his body, but now his mind is a lot more quicker than his body. His body just, yeah, he's probably going to go to MLS. He's not I don't think he's going to be a top league player anymore. Yeah, let's finish up, guys. Who was the man of the match? Who was the man of the match? For me, I'll be real. Lautaro. If it was just the first half, I would give it to Lautaro. This was probably one of my favorite ever performances of Lauti. I can see why they gave it to Basto, but to be honest, for me, I really enjoyed Barella's game today. Barella today, for me, was calm, collected. He was on a yellow. He didn't get no silly yellows. Look at that. 45 out of 49 passes, barely put a foot wrong, 2 out of 3 dribbles, 4 out of 6 long passes, 1 out of 1 tackles, 5 recoveries, 3 duels won. I really enjoyed Barella's game today, and he was a big part of the final goal as well. Vamo says Zoma. Ludi Score also says Zoma. Augusto or Zoma, Bobby Marley. Matthias says Carlos to assist. Yeah, I think in the end, kind of to assist, Thuram at the first assist, but I know what you mean. Yeah, in the tight spots today, Barella was just, I can't wait to see that compilation of Barella on Twitter later. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give it to Carlos Augusto, because before the game, today it was announced that DiMarco wasn't going to be fit enough to start. And Augusto really came through. I wasn't expecting it. As in, I always expect a good performance from Augusto. He's always reliable in that way, but actually he pulled through in terms of attacking. Both goals came through Augusto. He was solid defensively as usual. He was a dog, as we know. For stepping in for DiMarco, because DiMarco is a big miss for us. And obviously Darmian on the other side was doing nothing. I'm going to give it to Augusto, I'll be real, but personally, I really enjoyed Barella's performance, yeah. But because of Augusto, the way he stepped in for Di Marco, I really, really, really enjoyed it. And yeah, Mkhitaryan deserves a shout, Franco. I agree. Maybe Barella catches the eye more. Maybe that's what it is. But Mickey definitely, especially defensively, next to Bastoni and Augusto to try to help out against Olise and the Lime around that side. He did really, really well, helping out everywhere he could. Mkhitaryan, he was a monster as well, energetically, engine as always. Yeah. Now today is one of those performances you really can't take away from anyone, apart from as I said, Darmian, Thuram, that right hand side really, Pavard, Darmian, Thuram. But all the other guys, you could make an argument that they deserve a shout for man of the match, to be honest. And of course, Frattesi as well. Frattesi deserves a shout as well. But anyway, guys, 1 hour live long stream. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. Thank you everyone that donated today. Really appreciate that. We keep going. Of course, now we have the league once again, Serie A to focus back on. And in a few weeks, we'll have to return to focusing on Champions League again, and then Coppa Italia as well. Busy few weeks up ahead. But thank you everyone for your donations and support, and of course also everyone that commented. As I said, I really apologize that I wasn't able to get to your comments today. But yes, today and tomorrow, guys, get that smile when you go into your office, to your work. Get that big smile, get your Inter kits out, make fun of any Bayern fans that you know for now, enjoy it. But of course, job's not done. Job is not done. We need to go home to San Siro and finish the job in a few weeks. Keep a lookout on the game, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Ciao ragazzi, always, Forza Inter.